Okay, Trail, not yet. And Lexus here. And Carlos here. Shimaya here. And Lomel here. And Jordan, not yet. And Aisha, not yet. All right. Okay, I am sharing screen here. Today is November 6th. So we have a third class, and we have uh 4 more online meeting. And so today we have early childhood and Lexus presentation. Romel, you are the section presenter at middle and late childhood. And Shimaya, and you are the issue presenter after section presentation. And next week, and we have a first, and midterm exam on the blackboard. So I will show you and how to complete it. And Lexus, you are the issue presenter, and next week. And Shimaya, you are the section presenter, and next week and the other lesson. Okay, and
I
when
should
you
kill the
access,
persons who can't
okay,
access Blackboard.
okay, Carlos, hold on. Yeah, let me
No problem.
finish. And when you go to the Blackboard here, and you will find the, schedule and your presentation schedule and first online and the sample assignment here. And I will make a midterm exam. The lesson here. Midterm exam, and the test option. And we have a true and false question and multiple choice and matching items and short essay and long essay. And short essay and 2 to 3 sentence long, and long essay and 4 to 5 or 6 sentence long, and total 100 points. It is 15% of your final grade. So, your announcement. Yeah, I will give you the enough time to complete the midterm, exam. And display, I think, display today. And the due date is next week and 17th. I will give the 18th, end of the day. Due date. All right, Aisha, welcome back. Randomized. And announcement on here and submit. So when you go to the announcement box and Blackboard, and when you click it, it is available by today. So, and continue, you click, you will find, fill in blank. There are different types of, children, and short essay, and true and false question, and long essay. And do not click and save and submit. It is a finalized, question. So save all answers here. Do not click if you, do not complete the all test. Save all answers, and you can leave. And then when you have a chance to continue to conduct the midterm exam, so you can click announcement and click the link and continue. So it is very, very critical. So it's a true and false question and matching items, imprinting, and social cultural cognitive development theory. You can click. And system theory and microsystem and exo, meso, and the chronosystem I explained during my lecture. And then if you need the extra time, or if you have another schedule, do not click the save and submit. It's a finalized test. Save all answers. You have to click here and OK. And also you can leave. And for the next time, you can click the link again and continue. All right? Questions? Yeah, Carlos. Carlos, do you have a question?
Dr. Kim, I was saying that I don't have access to Blackboard, so how will I do my test?
Okay, you are not able to access Blackboard. So yeah, please email me and ask me and the midterm exam. So I will send another file for your midterm. Okay?
All right, so I'll email from my school email.
Yeah. Please send your email, and I will send
No
another
problem.
way. No. Okay.
Secondly, for Dropbox, I don't think I'm seeing a Dropbox.
Okay, and it's the same issue. If you are not able to access Dropbox with the technical problems, please send your assignment by email. So I will upload and archive your assignment instead of you.
I think I'm seeing something on Dropbox. I can access Dropbox, but I don't see a folder there with my name on it to input anything.
Okay, hold on. And I'm sharing screen. Carlos, Dropbox. Yeah, you uploaded. I uploaded instead of you. So, some student and Lexus, you uploaded your assignment here, and Romel, you uploaded your assignment here. So I uploaded your assignment instead of you, Carlos. So
Okay.
yeah, please stay on the line after class if you have any questions about Blackboard and Dropbox.
No
All
problem,
right,
sir.
time to go. Okay, and we start the early childhood first. And Lexus, can you share your screen for your presentation?
And everyone, well, I hope everyone's doing well. I hope you all had a great day. So today I'm going to be presenting on early childhood. Again, if you don't know, my name's Alexis Commodore. So for chapter 7, we're going to be talking about the physical and cognitive development of early childhood. So when transitioning into early childhood, children increase in height and they decrease in weight. So I always said your chunky baby is going to become skinnier. They're going to start elongating. Children start to notice the physical difference between one another. So once they're probably like in like kindergarten and things like that, they'll notice that difference, like, oh, Timmy's taller than me or Timmy's bigger than me. So that can be, again, due to genetics. So at this time, girls tend to have more fatty tissue and boys tend to have more muscle tissue. At this time as well, a growth hormone deficiency can occur in some children. So that's basically just the absence or a deficiency of a growth hormone produced by the pituitary gland. And this can be treated. All right, so the brain. At this time, when a child gets close to around 5 years old, their brain is 95% developed, just in size. It's still more developing happening, but just in size, it's 95% developed. One of those developments are myelination, which is the process by which the nerve cells are covered and insulated with the layer of fat cells, which increases the speed at which the information travels through the nervous system. As well as their gross motor skills are developing. So with gross motor skills, you want to think of like larger body parts, such as the legs, the arms, like your femur, your your arms and things like that. So such as running, jumping, hopping, skipping, participating in jungle gyms, and just doing crazy stunts. We always know you see a child like, hey, look at this, and they just do this outlandish jump. Their fine motor skills are also developing. So you want to think of the smaller muscles, such as like the fingers, such as grasping, like I said, grasping objects and placing them properly. They do have a little bit of trouble with that, but as they progress, such as getting to age 4, that's one of the main things that they're really trying to focus on. So such as like a puzzle piece or a block, that's going to be their main goal, try to place it perfectly. And then once they hit age 5, the hand-eye coordination has improved a lot. And they're also able to differentiate colors and a series of letters. So this is really good once you're going into like kindergarten and elementary school, because you start seeing like the alphabet. So then we're gonna go into sleep and nutrition. So sleep is important to all of us, but children need uninterrupted sleep to develop properly. So they recommend 11 to 13 hours. So here are a few tips to get your child to unwind. You know, it could be a little bit difficult for them to go to bed. So maintain a consistent bedtime, help them unwind. So you can help them unwind by turning off the TV, reading them bedtime stories, and keeping a quiet room for them. And when it comes to nutrition, eating behaviors are influenced by the caregivers. So again, just as a parent, you decide what your child can eat. You know, you want to try to keep them as healthy as possible and make sure they have like a balanced and nutritious meal. So this can affect their skeletal growth and their body shape in a positive way. So then you also want to make sure that they stay active as a child to keep them in shape. All right, so then the Piaget cognitive changes. So in early childhood, between ages 2 and 7, that is the pre-operational stages. So that's when children start to form stable concepts and reasoning, and they can represent the world with images and drawing. So just such as being able to draw a picture, you know, without it being in their vision. So a few stages that they go through is a symbolic function substage. So this occurs between ages 2 and 4. And again, children can represent an object without it being in sight. So again, just drawing a picture at a daycare, or also like pretend play. So some limitations to this stage is egocentrism, which is being unable to distinguish between their perspective and others. So they might be on the phone with their grandma and they might see like a plane flying, and they might be like, "Grandma, do you see the plane?" Even though their grandma's, again, she can't see it. So they can't distinguish that. And then another thing is animism, which is giving lifelike qualities to inanimate objects or believing they are capable of some type of action. So giving life to their teddy bear, you know, saying that their teddy bear did something, or in that nature. Okay, so some more of Piaget's cognitive changes. Another substage that they will go through is intuitive thought, and that occurs between ages 4 and 7. So this is when children start to use primitive reasoning, and they would want to know everything. So they're going to ask you 1,000 questions. So some limitations for this stage is centration and conservation. So with centration, they focus attention on one characteristic, excluding all others. And then with conservation, it's altering objects or substance, even though the appearance does not change its basic quality. So I just put a picture there. So again, as you can see in A and B, it's all the same. It's all the same. How can I put it? The same ounces and things like that. But once you pour it into like a taller tube, a child might say that C has the most just because, again, it's in a taller tube, even though it's still the same amount. So going into Vygotsky's cognitive changes. So Vygotsky, he says social interactions in society develop a child's mind and how they think. So one of the things when it comes to education with Vygotsky is the zone of proximal development. So that's basically when tasks are too difficult for a child to master by themselves, but can be completed with assistance. And then this ties into scaffolding as well. So this is just a level of assistance that teachers get. So again, when a teacher is first introducing a subject, they're going to be very hands-on and, you know, answering every question. But once the student starts to get used to it, they're going to, you know, back up more and just give the independence to that student. So, and then just going back to zone of proximal development, so it might be a task such as completing a puzzle. So a teacher might sit there and be hands-on and help put the puzzle together with the student. But once he starts to get the hang of it, she might just offer assistance. So then he also talks about private speech, which is developed by a child to guide and plan them and monitor their own behavior. So this is basically like talking to themselves. So again, if they are completing a puzzle, they might speak out loud like, which puzzle goes here, or which one should I try next? They might just start talking out loud to themselves. And then inner speech is also another thing. So once a child has internalized their private speech, it's kind of like their own thoughts. And he also said, Vygotsky also said, children who use more private speech, they're more socially competent. So, so going into Vygotsky and his teaching, so step one would be to assess the zone of proximal development. So you present the task of a varying difficulty. So that's just to determine how much help they may need. And then step two is to use that zone of proximal development in teaching. So you start, again, you're gonna start in that higher limit and work down. So from there you could like, in the lower limits, you could offer like assistance. But again, when you're in the higher level, you're gonna be more hands-on. He also says that you should use more skilled peers as teachers because that makes it more fun for them. Step four is place instruction in a meaningful context. So basically like make it relatable for students. So if you're teaching math, make it like a little bit fun. Maybe you could add some type of reinforcements such as like snacks or just something fun for them just to make it more meaningful. And then transform the classroom with his ideas. And that's just, again, implementing scaffolding. Again, when you first start, you're going to be very hands-on with them. And then just take a step back little by little as you see that they're progressing with the subject. So then we're going to go on to information processing. Excuse me. So with attention, again, attention is focusing on mental resources, focusing of mental resources on select information. And this is important because it shows that a child is ready for school readiness once he can focus on something specifically. There were two different types of attention. So you have the executive attention, which involves action planning, goals, error detection, and monitoring progress of tasks. And then you also have sustained attention, which is also known as vigilance. So that's when a child can be focused on an extended engagement with an object, a task, an event, or some type of environment. So then again, memory is just retention of information over time. So with short-term memory, individuals retain information up to 30 seconds, assuming that there is no rehearsal of the information. But again, when people can rehearse, such as a child, like with their numbers, they'll be able to remember it better. So then with executive function, that's just a higher level cognitive process linked to the development of brains of the frontal cortex. So that's just managing their thoughts, being more goal-directed, and just having more self-control. So that's something that you really want to see as they start to progress through school. And then also with children around in the early childhood, they really have really good autobiographical memory. So which is like remembering a lot of songs, people's events. That's kind of how they remember their lives. So they might remember like going to Chuck E. Cheese on their birthday, or, you know, specific songs. Okay, so the theory of mind is the awareness of one's own mental processes and the mental processes of others. So from 18 months to 3 years old, children begin to understand the perceptions, emotions, and desires. So then we're going to move into language development for early childhood. So I'll just say the definitions of everything. So phonology is like the sound of the sounds. So by the time the child is around 3 years old, they're able to pronounce all the vowels. So, you know, A, E, I, O, U, and things like that, and most of the consonants. Morphology is the form of words. So children can start using rules, like the plural, appropriate endings on verbs. They actually might overuse it at some point. Like they might put, instead of saying like feet, they might say foots. So that is a good way to just track their development. Syntax is the arrangement of the word. So they'll start to arrange sentences properly. When it comes to semantics, that's more so the meaning. So when going into first grade, children know about 14,000 words. That's a lot, I'll say. But pragmatic. So around the age of 4 or 5, children learn to change their speech when talking to a 2-year-old and an adult. So that's basically just knowing when and how to talk to people. Like they might talk differently to a baby, like, you know, in baby form to a 2-year-old, compared to an adult. They can sound like a little bit more, you know, educated, like they know their words. So when it comes to education, there were two types of educations that they touched on. So one was the child-centered kindergarten. So that's basically education that involves the whole child. So they're considering the whole well-being of the child, such as their physical, cognitive, socio-emotional development, and the child's needs and interests and their learning and their specific type of learning styles. So usually, like in pre-K, they make sure that they touch on everything. Like you might have a visual learner, so they might do something for that. They might, they always make sure that they have something that's fun, engaging, gets them out of their seats. So yeah. So the 3 principles of a child-centered kindergarten is they understand each child follows a unique development pattern. They understand young children learn best being hands-on, and then they realize that play is extremely important for the total development of a child. So the next one that they touched on is the Montessori approach. So it kind of was, when I read about it, it was definitely different for me, but I actually kind of liked it, to be honest. So this gives the child freedom during the learning. So a child can move through activities as they please. And more so the teachers are just there facilitating the activities. So such as demonstrating and offering help when requested. So some of the pros, again, they feel like it creates problem solvers and it helps the child work on time management. And some cons are it's not much interaction between adults and children. But however, in the book, so the creators of Google, they actually went to this kind of school and they actually really liked it and encouraged it. They felt like they were able to have their own mind and develop their own interests. So I did like that one. Okay, and then going into Project Head Start. So this was a government-funded program designed to provide children from low-income families an opportunity to acquire skill and experiences for school success. So this starts very young. It's kind of like pre-K, but again, it's for the people in low-income families. So overall, it definitely did help with the level the field for the disadvantaged children, and the kids from 2 to 3 showed higher level of cognition, language, attention, and health. I definitely took interest to this as well because, again, I'm from a low-income family, so I think it's very beneficial, again, just making everything equal for everyone. Okay, so now we're going to be going into Chapter 8, which is about socio-emotional development. Okay, so understanding self. Self-understanding is a cognitive representation of self, the substance and content of a child's self-conceptions. So at this time, their kids are able to tell themselves apart. It's more through material possessions, physical appearance, and physical activity. So, you know, maybe your child has a green jacket compared to somebody else's, or he might say, well, you know, I'm taller than Timmy, or I can run faster than Timmy. So that's how they see themselves and that they're able to differentiate themselves from other students. And at this time, they're going to start expressing themselves unrealistically positive. So they're always going to be like, I'm never sad, or I'm always happy, or that's how they would really express themselves, just always in a positive light. So Eric Erickson, age stages of development, at this time, they would be in the initiative versus guilt stage. So they have initiative to explore, they want to try new things. They want to be able to be more independent. But this can be very rewarding when they are successful with it, and then bring them like guilt or shame when they don't succeed, make them feel like kind of just bad about themselves. So with expressing emotional development, children usually experience joy and happiness once they reach 15 months to 18 months. They can experience pride, shame, and embarrassment, which are subconscious emotions. And these emotions are influenced by their parents' expressions. So just like if they were to do something bad, if their parents kind of yell at them or say, you're bad for biting your sister, they might feel a lot of shame and feel a lot of guilt. So emotional understandings. Children understand certain actions will evoke certain emotions. When they're between the ages of 2 and 4, children are learning about causes and consequences of feelings. And once they're 4 to 5, children understand actions can cause different emotions for different people. And when regulating their emotions, it helps with social competency. So if a child is able to regulate their emotions, they're more likely to do better in social settings compared to a child that can't. Like if they're in a negative mood and they can't calm themselves down, they might not do too well in social settings. So emotion coaching parenting teaches the child about negative emotions and guides them through it. So if they are having a temper tantrum, they might try to just calm them down a little bit and just explore why they're feeling like that and let them know it's okay, to feel like that. Compared to an emotion dismissing parent, they might deny, ignore, or try to change the child's negative emotions. Instead of just, letting them feel and just letting them explore and just teaching them how to properly deal with those negative emotions. So then we're going to go into more development. For the feelings, children attempt to reduce anxiety, avoid punishment, and maintain a good graces of parents. So that's kind of how they develop morals at a young age. They don't want to look bad in their parents' eyes, or they don't want to do anything that's going to make their parents upset. When it comes to reasoning, ages 4 through 7, they go through heteronomous morality. So that's when a child thinks justice and rules are conceived as unchangeable properties of the world and removed from the control of people. So again, everything's just one way. Like you shouldn't do that. They don't think of anything else. That's just how the rules are. That's how it goes. Once they get a little bit older, such as 10 years old, they start to show autonomous morality, which rules and laws they understand that rules and laws are created by others, and they understand intentions, and they understand the consequences behind things as well. Imminent justice. So that's basically when they experience this when they're younger. So if a rule is broken, a punishment will like immediately happen. Like they might see their older sibling do something, and they're like, "Ooh, I'm telling mom," because they know like something something bad should happen for breaking a rule. But overall, moral development depends on the relationship with your caregiver, with their caregiver, and how their caregiver sees it as well. That's how they end up learning right from wrong. Okay. So with gender roles are sets of expectations on how females and males should think, act, and feel. And gender typing is the skill, habit, or quality that fits masculine or a feminine role. So again, for gender typing, such as crying, I'm not saying it's true, but people might say crying is a feminine trait and things like that. So going into some theories about gender, you have a social role theory, and this is by Alice Eagley. So that's basically that gender differences result from contrasting roles of men and women. You have the psychoanalytic theory of gender, and this is by Freud, and that's the child develops a sexual attraction to the opposite sex of the parent. So if it's a boy, like the opposite theory. So he would be like attracted to his mom, and then the Electra is for a girl being attracted to her dad. But however, once they get around like 5 or 6, they no longer have those feelings, and they start picking up the characteristics of, you know, the same sex. So, you know, a girl might start trying to be like her mom, and vice versa. A son trying to be like his dad. And then the social cognitive theory of gender, and that's just gender development is developed through observing and imitation of others. And then even in like society, sometimes we give gender is shaped by like, we kind of give like rewards just in like certain things that we say. I feel like again, going back to the crying thing, you know, we say boys don't cry, so maybe like they're going to be more prone to like, okay, I'm not supposed to cry because I'm a boy. Or, you know, if a girl's, you know, in a dress, you know, you might say to your daughter like, oh, you look so pretty in your dress, so she might feel like, okay, I have to be more like, this is what I have to do, I have to wear dresses. So going more into gender, so the mother socialization strategies, that's basically a mother tends to socialize with their daughters more and teach them to be more obedient than their son usually. And obedient is kind of like, it's correlated with like ladylike. It's kind of compared to that being more ladylike. And then the father socialization strategies is when a father tends to spend more time with their sons, you know, like maybe going outside, throwing the ball around, you know, teaching them things that they want them to do, such as sports, you know. So from a young age, children, we usually have the same sex friends. So girls usually hang out with girls because it's more relatable. Again, if you go to the playground and you have a doll, you know, another young girl might come up to you like, oh, that's a nice doll. And boys usually like to roughhouse around, they were saying. So getting into parenting styles, I know Dr. Kim kind of touched on this in one of his previous lessons, but it was in the chapter, so I still wanted to put it in there. So again, an authoritarian parent is a very strict parent. So again, the child should always be obedient at all times, and discipline may be used frequently. Again, if you disobey, usually you're disciplined by that. So these children are usually often unhappy, fearful, and anxious. And then you have the authoritative parent, which is kind of the ideal parenting style, I would say, just because I feel like it's a nice balance. So again, the parents usually warm and nurturing, and it's dialogue between the child and the parent. So they're able to, like, you know, discuss things and, you know, even come to a negotiation if needed to. They have age appropriate limits, and the children are usually friendly and very cooperative. And then you have a neglectful parent, which is just an uninvolved parent overall, kind of lets the child, it really isn't even around for the child. So this may cause a child to have low self-esteem, be very immature, and even become a delinquent later down the line. And then you have an indulgent parent, which is highly involved, but there's no structure. So they kind of just let them do whatever they want to do. So this child can be spoiled, have no respect for others, and no control over their behavior. Because again, like, it's no rules, there's no structure. They kind of just do what they want. So for family, there's many factors at home or just in general that could affect your socio-emotional. So again, one of them can be birth order. They said that they can be a predictor of behaviors, and we've all heard the stereotypes. You know, the firstborn is more independent because usually they have to grow up a little faster, you know, to help out with their siblings, compared to the last child might be a little bit spoiled because, again, you know, they're kind of babies. Sibling relationships, that does really help a child develop. However, sometimes parents can show favoritism, so they just really say not to do that, just because it can cause depression and anxiety on the child that is least favored. It touched on working parents and how their child's behavior and just working a lot can influence their child's behavior, because sometimes they tend to bring home the stressors from work, and sometimes they spend so much time at work that they kind of neglect their child. And then they also touched on divorce a little bit, just saying that studies show that 25% of children can be emotionally impacted by divorce, because sometimes it can be messy. So just when parents are going through that, just, you know, always trying to put the child's interest at heart. And then again, as I said, it's a lot of factors that can affect a child's socio-emotional and just it could be your socioeconomic and just even like your ethnicity status, your ethnicity. So Latinos and African American families, they usually have bigger families and they interact more with their extended family members, such as grandparents, aunts, uncles, more than Caucasians. And then again, when you're in a lower income, families have access to less resources, which is linked to lower cognitive functioning and just more stressors overall. And in lower income families, usually the discipline rate is higher, they say. So peer relations and play. So this is very good. Peer relations promote normal socio-emotional development. Most of the young children's time is spent in play, and this really allows children to just relax, take off some anxiety, physical energy, and also develop cognitively, because again, they have to learn how to work with their peers. So there were a few different types of play. So one of them, starting with sensory motor play, that's when infants start to select objects to explore, like they may have a specific toy that they enjoy playing with. Then we go into practice play, which is mastering a skill or a repetition of a behavior. You also have pretend/symbolic play, and that's when children can interchange objects while playing. So an example I put is they might be sitting at a table and they say, well, I'm gonna fix the car, and they start like playing with the leg, thinking that they're fixing a car. You have social play, which is play with their peers. Constructive play, which is self-regulated creation or construction of a product or a solution. And then you have games, and that's just pleasurable activities that have rules. And I am done. These are my review questions.
Yeah,
So
all right. Thank you so much for your presentation, Alexis. So I like your PPT and the good summary and highlight important keyword and key concept in early childhood. So yeah, please send your evaluation scores and your answers from Alexis's review question. I highlighted and summarized the important part of early childhood and middle and late childhood together. Okay, Lomel, can you share your screen for your presentation, section presentation?
Yeah, 1 second.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Right, let's go.
Hello, my name is Romel Harris Freeman. My presentation is on section 5, middle and late childhood, focusing on chapters 9 and 10. So chapter 9 is physical and cognitive development in middle and late childhood. So physical changes in health. Elementary school is an important time for body growth and change. Typically between the ages of 6 and 11, children grow around 2 to 3 inches in height each year. And by the age 11, girls are approximately 4 feet tall, 10 inches tall, while boys are around 4 feet, 9 inches tall. Alongside this height increase, children also gain about 5 to 7 pounds per year, mainly due to the development of their skeletal and muscular systems, as well as some growth in various organs. So for the brain, cutting-edge brain imaging techniques like MRI have revealed that the prefrontal cortex plays a key role in enhancing attention, reasoning, and cognitive control. The cerebral cortex thickens in areas related to language skills. The brain also reorganizes, shifting from diffuse to focus activation throughout synaptic pruning, which is the elimination of access or unused connections called synapses between neurons, and increased connectivity between brain regions, improves reasoning abilities. These dynamic transformations lay the foundation for children's cognitive growth. And for motor development in middle and late childhood, children's motor skills undergo remarkable refinement and coordination compared to early childhood. They develop proficiency in a wide range of physical activities, from playing tennis to running, climbing, and mastering skills like swimming, biking, and skating. And gross motor skills that involve large muscle activity, boys typically excel. Fine motor skills also see significant improvement during this phase, thanks to increased myelination. And myelination is improved conduction within neurons. So this is of the central nervous system, and children become more adept at using their hands for tasks such as hammering, tying shoelaces, and writing. By the ages of 10 to 12, children exhibit remarkable fine motor skills, demonstrating proficiency in complex tasks, crafting, or musical instruments, with girls generally outperforming boys in fine motor abilities. So for disabilities, the scope of disabilities in the US, 14% of children aged 3 to 21 receive special education services in 2019 and 2020. A 4% increase since 1980 and 1981, and 1% increase since 2015 and 2016. The largest group received special education services in 2019 and in 2020, were students with learning disabilities, followed by those with speech or hearing impairments, other health impairments, autism, developmental delay, intellectual disability, and emotional disturbance. Participation in special education programs was higher for males by 18% and female percent. Native American Alaskan Native students had the highest participation rate at 18%, followed by Black American students, which was 17%, Latino students, which is 14%, and Asian American students, which contributed to 7%. And educational issues related to disabilities in the 1970s, we've seen a significant changes occur in the U.S. concerning the education of children with disabilities. With the passage of Public Law 94 to 142, later named the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or IDEA, and IDEA mandated a free, appropriate public education for all students with disabilities, emphasizing individualized education plans, or IEPs, and education in the least restrictive environment, which is a LRE. Inclusion, full-time education of children with special needs in regular classrooms became more common, with 61% of U.S. students with disabilities spending over 80% of their school day in general classrooms recently. Some experts advocate for a more individualized approach, including special education outside regular classrooms to better cater to the unique needs of some students with disabilities. And then we go into cognitive changes. So Piaget's cognitive developmental theory, and this is where we talk about Piaget's cognitive developmental theory, obviously. So Piaget's concrete operational stage spans from approximately 7 to 11 years of age. Children in this stage can engage in logic reasoning when dealing with tangible, concrete examples. They can perform mental operations, which are reversible actions applied to concrete objects. And this could be used as an example as if they're playing with clay. So a reversible action in clay is if they created a ball with the clay, if they formed a ball with their hands and then they ripped the object and made it into a different object, they understand now what the reversible action that they can go back to creating the ball that they originally created with the piece of clay. So conservation tasks like those involving clay demonstrate their ability to understand reversible actions. And by around 7 or 8 years old, children can correctly answer questions that involve imagining a reversible action. Concrete operational thinking enables them to consider multiple characteristics of objects. They become proficient at classifying items into sets or subsets, and they also excel in seriation, which involves ordering items along a quantitative dimension. And a quantitative dimension is just the consideration of the amount or size of whatever object or whatever item they're using. And they grasp transitivity, allowing them to logically combine relationships to draw conclusions. This stage represents a critical step in a child's cognitive development. And for information processing, so during middle and late childhood, children pay more attention to task-relevant stimuli rather than to salient stimuli. And so salient stimuli is basically a distraction that causes your immediate attention. So if you're nodding off in class and you're not really paying attention to the teacher and the teacher suddenly calls on you, that is a salient stimuli, because now you have to be alert to whatever just happened, even though you weren't previously aware of what was going on. So other changes in information processing during middle and late childhood involve memory, thinking, metacognition, and executive function. So for memory, we have in the middle and late childhood, long-term memory expands with age due to increased knowledge and memory strategies. It is important to note that children actively construct their memory rather than just adding to it. And I'm not going to read the entire bullet point just for the sake of time. And so I'm going to go straight into thinking after memory. And so from thinking, from memory, we go to competent children balancing critical and creative thinking. Creativity, which is essential, is sadly declining in children, likely due to increased screen time on iPads and just TVs, Netflix, things like that, and limited school emphasis. Efforts are being made in some countries to foster creativity in education with the goal of nurturing this trait in children in specific. And so for metacognition, metacognition is the awareness and understanding of one's own thought process. So for metacognition, we want to understand our thinking and when we use to learn strategies, improving cognitive performance. For example, young children who excel in metacognition do better in math by recognizing and learning from their errors or mistakes. And strong metacognition also boosts school achievement in older students, surpassing intelligence's impact, and it also plays a vital role in children's development, including language. And there we go to intelligence. So intelligence involves problem solving, adaptability, and learning from experiences. It's often studied through individual differences and assessment, with a particular focus on intelligence as a domain with significant attention to individual variations. The historical evolution of intelligence testing is of interest. It should also be noted that some children are to be considered gifted in this remark. So gifted meaning some children are just naturally, based on whatever reasons, if that could be genetics, genes, and they could just be more gifted in this area and more intelligent than other students. Even if they learn at the same pace in the same classrooms, they might just excel quicker and they're just considered gifted. So Alfred Bennett is the creator of, he is the original creator of the intelligence test. So in 1904, the French Ministry of Education sought Alfred Bennett's expertise to identify students struggling in regular classrooms, leading to the creation of the 1905 scale intelligence test. This test featured 30 questions encompassing a diverse range of abilities from touching one's ear to drawing designs from memory and defining abstract concepts. So Bennett introduced the notion of mental age, which is MA, measuring an individual's mental development compared to peers. And in 1912, William Stern introduced the intelligence quotient, which is IQ, and calculated as IQ is calculated as mental age divided by chronological age times 100. So an IQ of 100 corresponds to a mental age equal to chronological age, which values above 100 indicating mental age exceeds chronological age and below 100 indicating the opposite. So that's how you judge someone's IQ. So language development. We have vocabulary, grammar, and metalinguistic awareness. So during middle and late childhood development, vocabulary organization changes, with children categorizing words by parts of speech as their vocabulary expands. Vocabulary expands from about 14,000 to 40,000 words. Grammar improves, allowing for understanding complex constructions and connected discourse. Metalinguistic awareness grows, aiding word definition and understanding. Using language appropriately is usually mastered by adolescents. And here we see the stages of childhood. Vocabulary, which a newborn baby has been born. Childhood, the period of time in your life when you are a child. The infant is a baby, a very young child up to the age of 1. Toddler is a child between 1 and 2 years and 1 and 3 years old. A preschooler is a child between the ages of 3 and 5. A child is a young person who is not yet an adult, and a teenager is a young person between the ages of 13 and 19. So reading and writing in middle and late childhood. Reading is a strong pre-reading vocabulary is essential for reading comprehension. Fluent readers recognize words automatically. Phonics instruction is key, with direct phonics teaching being the recommended approach. Vocabulary development remains crucial for reading and comprehension. Metacognitive strategies such as monitoring reading and summarizing enhance the reading skills. And for writing in middle and late childhood development, we want to encourage early creative writing without stressing over spelling. So this will help students just, be creative and not focus on being wrong and the correct spelling all the time, just so they can develop that sense of creativity before, and then they can work on spelling and things of that nature later. So writing skills improve with practice and good instruction. We want understanding language structure and cognitive abilities to support better writing. Monitoring progress, accepting feedback, and applying lessons are essential for improvement. Many students face writing challenges as they progress throughout school. So for second language learning and bilingual education, studies show that late learners of a second language, such as adolescents and adults, find vocabulary easier to grasp than sounds and grammar. While students learn faster, children are more proficient. Learning approaches differ, with children relying less on feedback and explicit strategies. U.S. students are behind in foreign language learning, and as other countries like Russia start early, and the U.S. lacks a national language requirement. So this is basically saying that other countries like Russia, they start early and they immediately teach their kids second languages like English maybe, and the US, it's not necessarily taught until maybe middle school and high school now, that they might take some Spanish classes or a language of your choice, but it's not necessarily taught as immediately as a child. And so bilingualism enhances executive function, but not all studies confirm this, requiring more research. Although teaching 2 languages simultaneously to infants and young children offers numerous benefits with minimal drawbacks. And so chapter 10 is focused on social-emotional development in middle and late childhood. So we want to explain the benefits of social-emotional development for children. This could be through sharing, cooperating, listening, following directions, respecting personal space, making eye contact, and just using simple manners. So emotional and personal development relating to the self. So during middle and late childhood, self-understanding becomes more complex as children aged 8 to 11 describe themselves using physiological traits and social characteristics. They refer to attributes like, oh, I'm popular, I'm smart, I'm nice. Additionally, children become more aware of social aspects of the self, incorporating references to social groups and engaging in social comparisons. Their self-evaluation involves considering their abilities in relation to other students, their peers, their friends, or just children of their same age. And this development in self-discrimination and self-awareness occurs during these years. So during the middle and late childhood development. So then we go into moral development. And for moral development, we want to focus on Lawrence Kohlberg and Kohlberg's theories, which identify the 3 moral reasoning levels of pre-conventional, conventional, and post-conventional. Influences on moral development include cognitive maturation, cognitive conflict, peer interactions, and perspective taking. Criticism of Kohlberg's theory touch on its predictive limitation, intuitive moral thought, and the roles of emotional, cultural, and family. Emotion, culture, and family. The domain theory highlights various social knowledge domains, including moral, social, conventional, and personal. Pro-social behavior like sharing is shaped by parental influence. So as a child, you want to teach these things into your kid early, but just by sharing food with them and letting them know that it's okay to share anything that you may have. And this will help them later on in life, as they will be able to share with other children if they're in a daycare center or just in everyday life, just sharing whatever that may be. So moral personality is a growing area of interest and research. Now we want to talk about gender stereotypes, which are widespread worldwide. Some physical differences exist between males and females, but the cognitive disparities between them might not be as significant as previously thought. In terms of social-emotional distinction, males tend to display more physical aggression, while females often excel in emotional regulation and engage in pro-social behaviors. It is crucial to consider the social context when discussing the differences between the genders. Now we want to talk about families and how they impact the middle and late children. Developmental changes in parent and child relationships. So parents tend to spend less time with their children during middle and late childhood compared to their earlier years, where, you have to nurture a kid and be with them pretty much 24/7 when they're infants. And in middle and late childhood, parental involvement in a child's academic success become increasingly critical. So parents should really be involved in a children's academic success early, because it is critical for their knowledge and their understanding as they get older, and seeking help and then just understanding how to take advice and learn and before a teacher, and even if it's not a teacher teaching them, like a kid should just be able to understand how to learn from someone that may be older than them or anyone that they could be respective to. So parental discipline methods undergo changes with a shift towards more co-regulatory approaches that involve collaborative control rather than strict authority. So we have parents as managers. Parents play crucial roles in managing children's opportunities, monitoring their behavior, and organizing social interactions. Mothers take on managerial roles in parenting more frequently than fathers. Effective family management practices positively influence students' grades and self-responsibility and reduce school-related problems. Key practices include maintaining an organized family environment with routines for homework, chores, and bedtime, as well as closely monitoring a children's behavior. Studies have shown that parents who monitor their children's academic success ensure homework completion, limit non-productive distractions like video games and TV, and maintain open communication with teachers to contribute to their child's academic success. And we have attachment in families, and the benefits of parenting based on scientific research show that attachment as a parent will help your child be more sensitive and giving, promote higher IQ, healthier health in general, overall health. They should be less stressed, have a higher self-esteem, and be well behaved. So you want to secure parental attachment in middle and late childhood. This is linked to reduced internalized anxiety and depression symptoms. Children in complex blended step families experience more problems in comparison to those in simple step families or non-divorced families. So like previously spoke on, divorces and things like that and that nature in a family could really affect the child in many different ways, just how they handle it and what they see, and it might affect them later on in life if they get into a relationship as well. Now we want to talk about peers and developmental changes from peers. So during middle and late childhood, several noteworthy changes occur in peer relations. So we have increased same-sex group preference. So children in this age range tend to show a growing preference for spending time with peers of the same sex. This shift is often observed as they start forming stronger gender-based friendships and social circles. So increased peer interactions. As children grow older, they spend more time engaging in peer relations. They actively seek out opportunities to interact with their peers, both in structured settings like school and in more informal contexts. We have reduced adult supervision. In middle and late childhood, peer groups become less supervised by adults. Children gain more autonomy and independence in their interactions with peers, making decisions and resolving conflicts among themselves with minimal interference from adults. So these changes reflect the evolving nature of peer relations as children enter a phase of increased social independence and form stronger bonds with same-sex peers. So, these developmental changes are your child basically becoming more independent and less needing the parent and starting to figure out life on their own, friendships, relationships, and things of that nature. So for social cognition, we have helping your child understand people's thoughts and feelings. So social information processing skills, our children develop skills to process and interpret social information. These skills enable them to understand social cues, make judgment about other intentions, and respond appropriately in social interactions. So for social knowledge, children accumulate knowledge about social norms, roles, and expectations in peer relationships. This knowledge helps them navigate social situations effectively and understand the dynamics of peer interactions. So children understand how to interact with other people as far as their emotions and things like that. So if another child is sad, your child will be able to understand this and notice this rather than just not pay much attention to it as if they were a younger child. So friends, childhood friendships are often based on similarities within age, gender, and shared values. So William Hardup's research highlights the significance of friends who provide cognitive and emotional support throughout life. Children's friendships fulfill roles like companionship, stimulation, support, social comparison, and intimacy. Intimate friendships usually emerge during early adolescence. So friendships with socially adept and supportive peers offer developmental advantages and enhance physical activity in adolescence. So a supportive peer is someone that you're your child looks up to. So if your child is coming home from school and they're speaking about a friend that they had in class and someone that they like a best friend who they hang out with more, this is a great thing for your child because it can just promote stimulation, support, and just intimacy, and just this will allow your child to grow and just have a better bond with friends and be more comfortable around people and reduce social anxiety. So conflict-ridden friendships lack developmental benefits. Friendships significantly impact emotional well-being and academic achievement. Students with academically driven friends tend to perform better in school because if you heard the saying, you surround yourself with people that you want to be like, or people who are better than you, and then therefore you will be able to perform just as well as them, or possibly outperform them. And now we want to talk about schools. So contemporary approaches to student learning in schools. So the debate in education centers around the effectiveness of constructivist and direct instruction approaches. So standardized testing in elementary schools mandated by No Child Left Behind, or NCLB, and state governments in the US has faced criticism. The Common Core standards aim to provide specific grade level learning goals. The Every Student Succeeds Act, or ESSA, replaced NCLB, emphasizing multiple measures of school success and reducing mandated tests. The COVID-19 pandemic in March 2020 led to a shift to online education, raising questions about the benefits of in-person classes and potential risk in resuming them. So yeah, we know COVID was a big deal. And with COVID, we just discovered that we don't necessarily need to be in class, and it could possibly be safer, being that there are school shootings and things of that nature, but you also lack a lot of social aspects by not having in-person classes. So some students or some people prefer that we have in-person, while some people prefer online. It's pretty much up to you in that sense, but it's just giving some idea and insight about which ones is better for certain students. Let me go back to that slide. So we have socioeconomic status, ethnicity, and culture. Children in poverty face barriers to learn at school and home, with SES and ethnicity intertwining in school performance. So low expectations for ethnicity minority children hinder their learning. U.S. children score lower in math and science achievement compared to East Asian children in international assessments. Mindset, whether fixed or growth, plays a crucial role in children's development, with guidance toward a growth mindset being important. Parental involvement is highlighted as a key factor in children's achievements, as emphasized by Pomerantz. And so here are some questions that you may have based on my presentation. So you might wonder, what is metacognition? So metacognition is thinking about one's own thinking. So you want to make decisions based off your errors. So if you're metacognitive, you understand that you have made a mistake, and you understand how to learn from that mistake, as to where you just made a mistake. So now you kind of get the idea behind the why of things like that. So how do children's friendships benefit them? So friendships provide companionship, stimulation, physical support, ego support, social comparison, and affection and intimacy. And these are all good things, just so you know how to be a human, and understand how life works, and just being a little more sensitive to that aspect of it. So what influences children's academic achievements? So socioeconomic status, ethnicity, teacher expectations, and mindset affect academic performance. And how does attachment evolve in middle and late childhood? So how does attachment evolve? So attachment becomes more complex as children's social worlds expand, and secure attachment can reduce anxiety and depression. What are the key issues in contemporary education? The debate between constructivist and direct instructions approaches, educational policies like NCLB and ESSA, and the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on education. These are key issues in contemporary education.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much for your presentation, Lomel.
No problem.
Right. Okay, I post. Okay, can you share your screen?
Yes, 1 second.
Okay, good.
All right, so the topic I chose to research and present on was book bans in 2023. My name is Shamaya Gomer,
Mhm.
and this is my presentation. So, well, I'll go back. So book bans are things that have happened like, for years. It's when it's decided that a book would be banned from either a library or a classroom. And here are some of the reasons why a book might be banned. Sexual content, offensive language, unsuited for age group, LGBTQIA content, violence, racism, and religious viewpoint. Here's my summary of the article that I found. So it says, book bans in libraries and schools are occurring at an all-time high. It says there were nearly 700 attempts to ban library books in the first 8 months of 2023, according to data released Tuesday by the American Library Association, and that's printed directly from the article. Most book bans in 2023 have been in relation to content geared toward the LGBTQIA community. Director of Office for Intellectual Freedom, Deborah Caldwell Stone, stated, these attacks on our freedom to read should trouble everyone who values liberty and our constitutional rights. Throughout the years, book bans have taken place in order to protect the youth and prohibit them from being exposed to inappropriate content and themes. Book bannings can be looked at as a positive thing because it prohibits children from being exposed to inappropriate content. But on the opposing side, individuals feel that in some cases, banning books restricts information, which can prohibit freedom of thought. So they believe that banning books is kind of like messing with our freedom to, freedom of speech and freedom of thought and, things of that nature. I included some examples of books that have been banned in the past, like Charlotte's Web was once banned for its themes of death. And my opinion is, death is something that we deal with in the real world. So, I feel like it is kind of like controlling and like, to say that a child can't read a book that has those type of things. But that was the argument by mostly, I believe it was a group of parents that helped to get this book banned because they felt like their children shouldn't be exposed to those themes without permission. In another book, The Giving Tree, which was once deemed as sexist because the tree was a girl tree and she was very giving, but the little boy, he was like selfish and like, it's so interesting. So that's why I chose this topic, because I did find it interesting. And yeah, that's my current event.
All right, Shima, thank you so much. And why did you decide the book bans for the issue presentation?
This is something I just found interesting, and I keep on seeing like little like headlines talking about different books being banned, and it's just something I never researched further.
Okay.
And so I just found it interesting.
Okay, good. All right. I surely review an early childhood and the middle and late childhood and the major issues with your section presentation. Lexus highlighted the important part of physical, cognitive, and socio-emotional development using the brain studies and sleeping patterns and REM sleeping, and provide the Piaget's cognitive development theory. So in early childhood, and they they were from sensory motor stage to the pre-operational to and concrete operational stage, and they are learning and some reasoning and logics and the symbolical thinking, and also Piaget's, some concept of seriation and centration and conservation concept using some, different measurements with a narrow curve and wide and same curve and same amount of, water. So Vygotsky's and zone of proximal development. So I have my personal definition about ZPD and zone of proximal development. It is a potential area to be developed. So in our textbook tells us and too difficult for children to master by themselves, but can complete it with the assistance. So it is a potential area to be developed. So scaffolding and ZPD is one pair. You know what I'm saying? Scaffolding and teachers and parents supporting system and providing some cues and solutions, and social coaching skills too. So in our textbook, provide the definition of a scaffolding, the level of assistance and teacher give. When first teaching, they will be more hands-on. And so students get a chance to master and approach with a practical solution. Okay, and the other one, and private speech and inner speech, and the Vygotsky developed. And information processing theory, I already explained at the first class of this semester. And information processing is the same as a computer, and input, performance, output. So it is just like thumb drive. So and assimilation, accommodation, equilibrium, and same as Piaget's and cognitive development theory. Okay, there are several keywords of early childhood education. I am the early childhood educator, a member of NAEYC and ACEI, so and Professional Association of Early Childhood Education in the US. So I am going to present and participate NAEYC annual conference in Nashville, Tennessee, and next week, I think so. After next Monday class, and I am leaving Dover on Tuesday morning to the Tennessee. So I will monitoring your I will monitor your midterm exam during my conference. Okay. Anyhow, NAEYC, DAP, and developmentally appropriate practice. It is a keystone and of the NAEYC's model and developmentally appropriate practice created by Dr. Sue Bradkamp. There are several forerunners for the early childhood education, and Frebel, and father of early childhood education, Maria Montessori. And you are familiar with the Montessori education and program in Dover, Delaware, and we have a Montessori school and near the Dover Air Force Base, and they are using Montessori materials, special certificate and certified teacher by Montessori Association and in the U.S. And according to the several research and Montessori school and Montessori program and approach is very, very competitive in math and science education, especially as special ed, early childhood and special ed. And Maria Montessori, she created and founded Casa dei Bambini in the Italian word, and it is a children's house in the Italian word. So, and she studied, and early childhood special education and through the Casa dei Bambini. And she was the first female physician in Italian history. So that means she got a lot of prejudice and obstacles and some criticism from other male educators. I think late of 19th century, I think is 1986, and we have a really big World Expo in early childhood education in Philadelphia. So it was the first time to introduce the Maria Montessori program in the US. After 2 decades later, and a lot of American mothers, especially, and they didn't like Montessori programs because it is Italian culture-based program, and also it was a very some exotic and weird material they think. However, really good outcome in math and science, and is really popular in the middle of 1930s and 40s, after and the 50s. So it is a really critical part of early childhood education approach in the US. And the other program, and you are familiar with the Reggio Emilia. It is Italian and program too, Reggio Emilia program, and Waldorf schools. Waldorf school in German pronunciation, and Waldorf school is very fun. Maria Montessori, and Waldorf schools and Reggio Emilia. And what about U.S. Original and early childhood education program, and Banker Street, High Scope, and Head Start program, based on the John Dewey and child-centered view. So it is simple intro about early childhood education in the US. Okay, and biological terms of sex and gender obtained and learning the concept of male and female. So let's just highlight it. And parenting styles and authoritarian, permissive, and neglect and uninvolved, So it is also I presented the first week of this semester. Okay, last, and the types of play. Lectures provide the sensory motor play and practice play, and symbolic play and social play and constructive play and games. Another approaches and category for the play and and first one is a solitary play, and a kid play alone, solitary play alone. Second one is a parallel play, and we are staying in same space, however no interaction occurred. So we call it is a parallel play. Third one is associate play. Associate play is they are sharing some toys and materials, but not working together. Just borrow and lend and share, and however they are not working together. And last one is most advanced part of a play, is cooperative play. They are planning together, walking together, and display together, and evaluation and assessment together. So most advanced part of a play. The reason why I am telling you about the play, because early childhood education is based on the one integrated curriculum through the play. So, elementary ed and higher ed, we have a separate and subject for each class: music, art, history, social science, and the bubble math and science and technologies, and music, art. However, early childhood education used the one integrated curriculum. We are teaching math and bubble, art, music, and manipulative and physical education through the play. So it is one integrated curriculum through the play in early childhood education. Okay, and move forward the middle and late childhood and romance presentation. He also highlighted the important key concept and keyword in middle and late childhood. Some disability issue and dyscalculia, dysgraphia, and student at risk and educational issue and cognitive changes. Also, he provide Piaget's cognitive development theory. It is formal operational and concrete operational. So they fully developing the logics, reasoning, even metacognition too. And information processing and metacognition and thinking and memory skills. What about intelligence? Based on the forerunner of enacted good news view, forerunner of maturationist view is Jean-Jacques Rousseau, and he strongly believed that children, born inherently good. So they need some paces and some steps to be developed, step by step. So an intelligence, standardized test mainly deal with our average score and mean score in statistics. So Stanford University and Alfred Binet created a standardized test based on the IQ test. So also Howard Gardner and Dr. Gardner provide a multiple intelligence theory. He basically agree with the standardized test and IQ test mainly deal with the verbal math and logics and analytics. However, he believed that each human being hold at least 8 domains of intelligence. So verbal math and spatial intelligence and pro-social intelligence and bodily kinesthetic intelligence and natural intelligence and aesthetic intelligence too. So 8 domains of intelligence. So please remember Howard Gardner's multiple intelligence theory regarding intelligence and in middle and late childhood. Vocabulary and semantics and programmatics and other terms for they're using word and sentence and pronunciation and okay, moral development by the Kohlberg and Kohlberg's theory and provide pre-conventional and conventional and post-conventional stage for each children's moral development. There are 3 reasoning levels and pre-conventional and conventional and post-conventional. In pre-conventional stage, and they need clear standard and policies. And if they follow the policies and standard, reward. If they did not, do not follow the standard and policies and punishment. And conventional stage, they are finding selves and influences on moral development include the cognitive maturation. So it is based on maturationist level. And at the post-conventional, and they have clear confidence about themselves and maintain their moral standard by themselves. Okay, and gender issue and parent issue and attachment issue. So, and we categorize the different types of children evaluated by peers, and popular children, average children, controversial children, and rejected children. So please back to your early childhood. And you know, are you popular child, or average child, and you know, controversial child, and rejected child, and evaluated by peers. Sometimes bullied, sometimes you know, rejected, sometimes you know, discriminated, and so it is easy to see your student in your classroom. Who are the popular, you know, popular children, and average children, and you know, controversial children, sometimes good and sometimes bad. Rejected children, you know, not many, you know, peers like them, and rejected. Okay. And friends. Okay, I think it is enough to highlight early childhood and middle and late childhood and keyword and key concept. Okay, thank you so much for your evaluation. I received your evaluation and answers of your you know, review questions. Okay, Carlos, thank you for your evaluation and your responses. And ZPD and scaffolding are both concepts used within the educational psychology, right? They are similar in that they both emphasize on the importance of providing appropriate support system and guidance to students. ZPD refers to the, you know, range of a task a learner can perform with the help of a more, you know, knowledgeable person, a teacher or parents, right? While scaffolding is the support and assistance given by teacher or parents and peers, you know, as well, to help learners progress in their ZPD, a potential area to be developed, right? In the other word, the main ZPD is a developmental stage, and while scaffolding is instructional technique used to facilitate, you know, learning. Thank you. Okay, and Carlos Strong feels it important to consider children, you know, children's need and parents' preference. And when choosing between Montessori and child-centered kindergarten, and Montessori focuses on hands-on and self-directional learning, and while child-centered kindergarten offered more teacher-guided learning, one must consider their child's personality and learning style to make best decisions. All right, thank you, Carlos. And understanding how children conform to gender norms is complex. And theories like a social learning theory and gender schema theory and gender role all contribute. It strongly feels that important to consider children's need and children's preference when choosing between Montessori and child-centered. It is the same, you know, same sentence. Thank you. All right. Thank you for your comment and feedback for Lexus's presentation and Loma's presentation, Carlos. Okay. Thank you. Okay, if you need the extra time to complete the review question and answers, yeah, please send your evaluation score and your answers of review questions from Lexus and early childhood and by email to me. Okay, before we dismiss, and I am sharing screen for the next schedule. All right. And next week, and we have fourth week, and we have a section 6, adolescents. And Shimaya, can you hear me? Yeah, you are the presenter of a section 6 and same format, and 25 to 30 slideshow, and added review questions at the end of your slideshow. You must send the slideshow and PPT at least 24 to 48 hours before the class time for my review. Okay, and we start the midterm exam and next Monday. not next Monday. Today we start, and November 6th, and on the Blackboard. So if you have any technical problem to access midterm exam on the Blackboard, please let me know. Okay, article create and reflection paper. I received some of your article review papers, article create and reflection papers. So I am reading and evaluating right now. But some of you still missed. So if you have a technical problem to upload your article create and reflection paper on the Dropbox, please send it or them by email to me to verify due date. Right? Thank you so much coming today. I will see you on next Monday and November 13th. Okay.
Dr. Kim, I have a
Okay,
question.
yeah, please stay on the line if you have any questions. Okay.
Yes.
Have a great night, everyone.
Okay.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night.